go.
Had to reach for the microphone. Welcome to the Raleigh Municipal Lighting Board meeting of December 11th, 2013. And our first item agenda will be Citizens Query from 7 to 10 p.m. And are there any citizens' queries in the audience? Okay, we do have one citizen here tonight. Item number 2 is review and accept minutes from previous meeting. Has everybody had a chance to read those minutes?
Yeah.
Any errors or omissions?
Just one at the very bottom. It has you as absent.
Okay.
Chairman absent, and was supposed to be Ken. Just that's all.
Okay.
That's not the only error.
Just need a name change, yeah?
Okay. Because right above it, it's stated. It said Ken was absent up in the minutes, but just at the end.
Okay. So we'll make that one change, and if there's nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes with the change.
I'll make that motion.
And I'll second it.
Okay, motion made and seconded to accept the minutes with a slight change. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Item number 3, budget review through October 31st, 2013.
Does everybody have a copy of the budget?
Yeah. So if I can find the right one.
I know I did mail a couple of them out.
Is this the one here?
Yeah, that's 213, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I got it online right here.
Okay. I just wanted to update the commissioners on where we stand with our budget for the current year. And as you can see, we're doing pretty well. There are, on the front page, we are where we want to be in our revenues, and we are pretty close to where we want to be with our expenses. There are a couple of line items, if you flip the page, that have, and we've talked about these in the past, there are a couple of line items that have exceeded their dollar amount already, and that's due to basically, this is the first year we're doing our budget. In order to make this work, we're going to have a couple of years just to get everything working correctly in order to move forward.
Yep.
Is there anything that the commission is, I assume you've already reviewed it, and is there anything that you'd like to kind of go over, or do you want to go by line by line? I don't think we need to go line by line, but if you have any questions, comments.
I don't think we do, unless somebody does have some questions.
Anything of particular note, Dan? That stands out to you?
The only thing that stands out really to me is the pensions, employee pensions and benefits, which is almost $100,000 over the budget line item in the current year. That is basically a lot of it's payroll, and a lot of it is workman's comp costs. And insurances that we pay to the town. I've tried to, what I've gone and done, that's not very right. What I have talked to the accountant about is actually putting I'm sorry, I gotta start over.
Okay.
I've talked to the accountant about putting a monthly expense in our general ledger to put money in that expense every month in order to put that money away, because the town bills us annually for this, and it's a lump sum.
Yeah.
So, and it's a large amount. So what I've done is I've had the accountant put that away monthly in order for that money to be there when the check comes due, so that way it doesn't hit us all at once. So what we're doing is we're doing that for next year, so it's adding up quite a bit. But this year, you can see it's difficult to predict the cost, and I think we can get a lot closer than we have right now.
Okay, the only other one, Dan, is 924, which is property insurance. Is there something to change with the property insurance, or is it just the rates went up or
Well,
something.
there was that one item that we had taken care of earlier this year, to do with past employees,
Mhm.
and that kind of skewed the number a little bit,
Okay,
and that's in that amount.
okay. No, that's, I figured something like that probably took place. So-
Okay, so the employee pensions and benefits, 91,435.78.
Mm-hmm.
That is in the negative.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, anything red is in the,
In the
is an
negative.
overage.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
I mean, everything else looks
Mhm.
relatively where it should be.
In balancing these accounts, as you can see, there are a number of accounts that are also over. I mean, that have quite a large amount of money left in the account. So, and that's what is basically balancing the budget right now, so.
Right.
And I'm assuming some of the, we still have some outstanding expenses we'll have to do before the end of the year.
Yeah.
And probably purchase power is gonna be one of the big ones.
I think I think we're gonna be really close on that. I mean, that is something that, it's the biggest number in the budget, and that's something that we have a really good idea where we're gonna be. So that
Mhm.
4.1 million should be really close for that line item.
Yeah, good.
Okay.
If not, hopefully a little bit under it, because we
Yeah.
only have, well, we have the 3 months left.
Mhm. Looks good, Dan.
Thank you.
So, okay, is there any other questions or comments?
Nope.
We can move on to the next agenda item, and that's capital operations and maintenance budget for 2014.
All right, on to the next year. Does everybody have a copy? Oh, and by the way, I'm sorry, I made an error in the one that I had sent you, so I did print out some new copies.
Okay.
I had omitted a couple of line items on the budget, so I did print out some new copies. Pass those along.
Thanks, Paul.
Did someone get one that has drawings on the back? No.
You got one with drawings on the back?
Okay. My note,
No.
my notes on it. I think I've got it right here.
Wait a minute, I have figures in the back. Is that the
Yep,
one?
that's the one.
Is that yours?
Yes, that's mine.
Okay.
All my notes.
Okay.
Okay. So going forward, for next year, this is the budget for calendar year 2014.
Mhm.
As you can see on the front page that I predicted the revenue, most of the accounts are identical to this year. And I did that only because I feel that we're not going to have any sort of rate increase, so the revenue should predictably stay pretty close to the same. There is one line item that I did increase by $100,000, and that was the industrial sales. And that is looking like we're going to exceed what we have already this year. So the revenue, I predicted another $100,000 in revenue in the industrial sector.
Okay.
Otherwise, the rest of the revenue is pretty much the same as it was last year.
Yep.
The expenses, on the other hand, I've made some changes, and let me know if I'm going too fast or if you have any questions on the front page.
Yeah, looks pretty good, Dan.
On the back page, on the expense account detail page, As I had said, I omitted a couple of line items. One of those being overhead line expense. It's account 583. On the budget that I had sent you was a zero balance, and that should have been. I gave my copy away. Is that the heat?
Yeah.
All right.
It goes to David Smith, right?
Yes. Yeah.
This, I think we should go pretty close to line by line because there are some increases in that. Going line by line, the depreciation expense I increased by 25,000 to 250,000 from the previous year. Just to, because the plant value has increased, so our depreciation, we can increase that according to our plant value. The purchase power I increased to 4.2 million instead of 4.1 million. It's only adding 100,000, but I had said, looking at predictions from Energy New England, where we should be with our power supply next year, I feel that the 4.2 million should be a pretty good budget number for that amount. The next number, the 70,000, remains the same. The next number that changes would be overhead line expense. Last year's budget had $195,000 in that. Currently in October, I believe we're only at 125,000, so I decreased that budget number by 20,000 just to better align the budget so that these accounts kind of balance going forward.
Yeah.
The next one that changes would be, I believe it's the meter expense. Look at that. The meter expense, I added 1,500 in the meter expense. We are going to be doing a few meter changeouts next year. I'm planning, and we can talk about more in the capital budget, but
Okay.
I am talking to the guys, or the line guys, about changing some demand meters out, and that we should have demand meters in these accounts that aren't now. So in the capital budget, there's a line item for a large meter expense to buy some new meters, and the expense here is just to basically cover some additional expenses to go along with that. The next one that changes is the maintenance of structures. I added 1,000, no, actually miscellaneous distribution expenses, I'm sorry. I should have brought a ruler with me so I could keep this straight. That's the same. The maintenance of structures increased by 1,000. The maintenance of underground lines remains the same. The next line item that increased was maintenance of line transformers by $2,000. Basically, the account right now has a $1,965 in the red, so increase that account by $2,000. If anybody has any questions on these accounts as we're going along, please. Meter reading expense. Doesn't make any sense. Wait a minute. Customer record, okay. Just I'm having trouble lining these up. 903, customer record and collection expenses. I decreased that account by 55,000 because right now this year this year we have budgeted for 150,000 in the account. We've only spent so far 48,000. So I decreased that line item to 95,000 for next year.
Collections are meter reading.
see, there's another, so,
Meter reading is a 95.
yeah, no, that's incorrect. That shouldn't be 95,000. Sounds
I
like,
thought
looks like a
that
typo. That should be 5,000, not
I was
95,000.
gonna say it looked a little high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which one is that? That's what,
902
902?
should be 5,000, not 95,000.
Oh, okay.
The next one, the customer record and collection expenses, was 150,000 this year. We've only spent 48,000, so I decreased it down to 70,000. So I decreased the actual line item by $80,000.
Okay.
Uncollectible accounts remains the same. The next account that changed would be admin and general expenses. I increased that account by 30,000 to go to 150,000. The next account, outside services employed, that's changed. I decreased that account by 20,000.
By 20?
By 20.
Negative 20, okay.
The, right now, the budget line, the line item has $110,000 in it. We've only spent 60 so far this year.
Okay.
The next, property insurance, I had increased that account by 25,000 to 35,000 for next year to better align the budget. Employee pensions and benefits, I increased that by 120,000, and that one is the one that's negative $91,000 this year. So it's going to cover the deficit from last year and increase the line item to cover any additional expenses that for insurance. And the rest of those remain the same. So I apologize for the errors in that.
So Dan, that, on 902,
Mhm.
that in the orange, that will affect on page 1,
Yes.
miscellaneous general expenses, so take $90,000 off the 183, 183,000?
Yes.
Okay.
So you're actually going to increase the profit would be $90,000 more, or $117,500. It's expensive meter reading.
Okay, is there any other comments or questions, or? So we didn't do too bad at all with that, considering it was, last year was the first time out.
No,
As
yeah.
far as getting it fairly close to the projected is to the actual. I mean, there's a couple of them there that sometimes you can't control, but.
Yeah, once and being the first year in the budget and my first year here, it's going to take me probably a couple of years to get in tune with how the expenses, because every town handles different things a little bit differently.
Yep.
To get a handle on how the expenses work. So I think next year will be even closer.
Good, that's great. Okay, so the next item is,
Do you, do you want to make a motion to accept the budget, or?
okay,
as a-
so, yeah, with the changes that you're gonna make?
Yes.
Okay. Do I have a motion for that?
I'll make a motion that we accept the budget, the capital operation budget for 2015. Capital operations and maintenance budget for 2015.
14.
Do you want to?
2014, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I hate to interrupt, but do you want to just, we didn't go over the capital budget yet? I don't know if you want
Oh,
to make a
okay.
motion to accept just one or both, or?
This is the O&M budget, I guess, Bob, we just
Okay,
discussed.
operations and maintenance
Yeah.
budget, okay, sorry. Make a motion to accept the operations and maintenance budget for 2014.
Okay, do we
I'll
have
second it.
motion made and seconded to accept the operation and maintenance budget with the corrections that need to be made? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
I will make the corrections and send you out an email with the corrected budget.
Okay.
Now the capital budget. I assume, does everybody have a copy of the capital budget?
No.
Do you have a copy of it?
Yeah.
I even got the 2015 budget.
Oh, you got the extra page, yeah.
000.
I'll let you look this over for a minute before we start going over it.
So I'm assuming we've got some capital projects planned for 14, and one of those would be changing some overhead conductors.
Yes.
Okay. And we're still continuing our LED program.
Mm-hmm.
You see that, there's a few dollars in there for that.
Dan, how far were you along on the LED project?
Not very far along at all.
Okay.
We've been doing it by attrition, so the lights, as they burn out, or as the
Okay.
ballasts go in the lights, that's the way we were, handling it up until now.
Mm-hmm.
I have spoken with the crew, and the way I want them to handle it in the future is any main line or main road lights that the bulb burns out,
Right.
they're going to be starting to change the fixtures in order for us to start getting those energy efficiency savings from using the LED fixtures.
What is the price for a bulb just?
For the fixture itself,
Hmm.
anywhere from probably $260 to $450, depending on the fixture.
Okay. And the cost savings is significant compared to...
Considering a 70-watt high-pressure sodium goes for like $65. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's quite a significant cost, but the energy savings in the long run
Energy
are well
savings.
worth it. Yeah, I mean,
I think between energy savings and personnel time
Yeah.
to go out and change a
Mm.
5-year lamp versus a 20-year lamp.
Yeah.
So,
Big difference.
mhm.
and that's lucky if you get the 5, because that's an average.
High-pressure sodiums, as you know, they can go 1 year, they could go, 6 years, 7 years, depending.
Is this actually budgeted for 14 is 35,000 for transportation?
For a new car.
New car. Okay.
We can go over this line by line if you want. It's up to you.
And I'm assuming the communication equipment is more maintenance than anything else.
No, it'd be for new radio,
New
new
radio.
radios, new equipment
Okay.
that we may need.
Yeah, that is a capital budget, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And we know about the meters, because you mentioned that before.
Yep, we can start right at the top.
Okay.
Account 361, structures and improvements. I didn't budget anything for that capital for this year. I think next year we'll end up putting some money in the budget for the building, for the Summer Street building,
Mm-hmm.
to make some improvements to that building. Station equipment, I have $25,000 in the budget for station equipment, and that's basically going to cost. That's going to cover the cost of a metering project that I'm currently working on to replace the revenue metering that's at the substation. Basically, the revenue metering I'm not really sure how old it is, but the meters themselves are, they don't make the parts for them anymore, so if something did happen to those meters, we'd basically have to figure out or find a part to replace in those meters. The new meters that I wanted to put in the substation would give us more data acquisition in the substation. It will give us real-time data for all our circuits that we currently don't have at the substation. We have some data there. We have meters that give us amperage, voltage, and whatnot. But this would actually save that data in real time and be able to retrieve it,
Okay.
from the office.
My guess is the meters that are there now are probably 2000,
Year 2000.
99, 2000,
Okay.
when they were making the change. Remember, everything was supposed to, the world was supposed to come to an end. So I think that when we evaluated those meters, they decided to change them out.
Okay.
They weren't sure that they would make it through the year change.
The year change.
Yeah, so that would be my guess.
The account 364 poles, 1,000 fixtures. I have 60,000 in the budget to cover some pole replacements that we're in dire need of. One street is Main Street. There are numerous poles on Main Street. Probably, I'm not sure what the number is, but there's a numerous amount of poles on Main Street that need to be replaced.
Particularly Lower Main Street, east end side.
Mhm.
When we were at the primary down there, back in the 60s, a lot of those poles got extensions on them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
How many double poles we have in town?
Over 100 probably.
Over 100.
yeah, that comes through from the Bay Ring and the fiber optic upgrades that were done.
Yeah, a lot of those are those, but there are numerous ones that are even previous to that we need to get on the phone company about to replace.
We waiting on the phone company and cable company?
No, a lot of those have been transferred by the cable company, but I'm waiting on the phone to transfer.
Phone transfer. Okay. How long have we been waiting?
I've seen some dates, 2008, so 4 years. I mean, 2008, I'm sorry. That's 6 years, so,
2008, really?
yeah.
Okay.
That's not bad.
Yeah, I know, there's some communities,
Unfortunately, I hate to say that, but it's
I
true.
know.
It's not bad. I mean, I've seen them in 10, 20 years before they finally got around to doing it.
Do
We
we
had one
do-
on Main Street that almost fell over.
do we do our own pole testing? Or do we have a firm coming in to do the testing?
We don't have a pole testing program right now, no.
Okay.
It is something I know the IOUs, National Grid, probably Verizon do it
Yeah.
on their poles. It is not something that I know of that we've done in the past.
Haven't really done it. Years ago, the phone company used to do it, as you know. The
Yeah.
phone company did it. They sent people out, and for some reason, they stopped doing it.
Well, they had a pole inspector. They had a person who was a rated
Yeah.
head lineman, and he'd be a pole inspector.
Yeah.
Then they put it out to a firm, contracted it out to
Okay.
come in and check the poles. So,
Yeah, because they used to even drill. They would take the core sample.
yeah, take core sample on the bottom, and they'd do a sounding test
Yeah.
up and down the pole,
Yeah.
and tag the pole, what they found.
Yes, yeah.
So, I don't know where that stands. So,
Yeah, I mean,
I would imagine Raleigh put money into that, right? Into that contract?
Well, I don't,
Because they're joint owned poles, right?
the joint owned poles, but I don't know if we ever paid the phone company, but it was our set.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, maybe because yours,
Yeah.
our set,
the, I don't remember ever paying any testing, but it may have kind of stopped before I became manager. I know when I first started, we'd always find a plug in the pole, or there would be a tag on it with an arrow pointing down, up, or up, depending on where the problem was. So they'd put a red tag on them.
I would wonder where it stands in the whole Northeast.
I'm not even sure they're doing it anymore, Bob, to be honest. It's
I know.
probably too expensive at this point. Because a good lineman always tests the pole before he goes up.
They're still in the, yeah, that's right, you're right. They're still in the phone business, aren't they?
Hopefully.
next item is, I'm sorry. Next item is overhead conductors. We have some reconductoring jobs that we'd like to do.
Okay.
One of them, Weathersfield Street, is a single-phase primary that we need to reconduct a tree wire. We want to hang a step-down down there to step down the Girl Scout camp, and there is an overhead primary that goes up a road. I'm not sure what I think there's a farm at the end of it.
Taylor Farm.
Yeah, we want to keep that at 2,400 for now, so
Okay.
we'll hang a step down. And there are a couple other projects that we'd like to do that are built into that number as well. Single-phase projects, upgrading the tree wire.
Yeah.
Underground conduit, just not enough, just a little bit of money in that account, just to keep
Keep it
as
going, yeah.
expenses go along. Underground conductors, you'll see a large expense this year. We had a couple of underground projects come into town this year that will be finishing up the end of this year.
Okay.
I don't see anything on the horizon as of right now, as far as any projects that are coming up, so I didn't budget for anything in that. If the most underground projects, the developer pays for all the infrastructure anyway, so that is not a big,
Mhm.
capital project for us. Line transformers, just budgeted as a yearly expense in capital, just to buy some new transformers to have in stock.
Mhm.
Services, same thing. Meters, the meters, there's $15,000 in there, just as I said, to buy some new demand meters in order for us to track demand on some not large commercial customers, but smaller commercial customers that right now may have just a regular class 200 meter on it,
Yeah,
or a
yeah.
class 320 without demand. What I'd like to do is track these customers better with their demand, in order for them to see, if they need to be billed on demand. If they don't, we'll have that information there. So that's just to cover the cost of the meter expenses. Street lighting, that's to buy some more LED fixtures for next year to continue our upgrade project for the LED lighting. Structure and improvements office, that is basically just to do some painting around the office. There's some things that, just some maintenance issues that we need to deal with around the office.
Yeah.
Maybe some new moldings, some things like that around the office. Office furniture and equipment. What I'd like to do is start a PC replacement program, because I believe when the 3 managers ago, I think it was, all the PCs in the office were replaced.
Okay.
I don't disagree with that, but I feel that we should be doing this on a yearly basis rather than all at once. So you're buying a PC once every year instead of buying 5 or 6 of them all at once.
Rotate it.
Rotating and buy a few PCs,
Yeah.
buy 2 this year, buy 2 next year. Because right now we have 6 PCs in the office. A couple of them are, they don't have to have new PCs, they can have basically hand-me-downs. We don't have to buy a new PC.
Okay.
But there are a couple of them that we probably need to buy new PCs for, and then next year we'll buy 2 more, and so on and so forth. So that line item in the budget is just going to cover a couple of new PCs for us in the office. The transportation, and this is where I look for your approval on this. I put $35,000 in the capital budget for a new vehicle for myself. The car I'm driving now is a 2010 Escape, and it's got almost 50,000 miles on it. Basically, I would probably move that car to replace the Tacoma. That is a...
The meter reading truck.
Yeah. What year is it, Eric? I can't remember now. Is it 2008, 7?
Could be 6, 7. Like
Yeah, 2007. So I would replace that truck, the meter reading truck, with mine.
Okay.
So we'll keep the truck in-house. And it would be a better vehicle to drive around town, probably save some gas mileage with using that rather than the Tacoma.
Okay.
Tacoma is starting to get to the point where it needs some maintenance. And I think it's just going to cost us more. And if I'd probably put the Tacoma out to the town departments before I get rid of it.
Yeah,
Just
there
to
may
see
be
if-
one that one might be able to use as somebody like possibly the Board of Health inspector or even the some of the others that need vehicles. I
Yeah.
know Board of Health guy has got an old police cruiser right now,
Yeah.
so
Okay.
it may be well to look at his car. I think I'm pretty sure it's that was probably 100,000 miles on it when he got it. So.
Okay, all right. Tools, shop, and garage equipment basically is the purchase. I can't talk tonight. Is to purchase some new equipment for the shop or for the line trucks, some tools. We have a couple of things in mind that, you know, the $5,000 would cover some new safety equipment for the guys.
Okay, no, we always need to do safety equipment.
Communication equipment is just what it says, probably a new
Yeah.
radio and whatnot. Miscellaneous equipment is just what it says.
Just to keep the line open.
Yeah.
Okay. So it doesn't look very, I mean, we had a capital budget last year in 2013 of 143,000.
There was, I'm sorry to correct it, there's really no budget per se, that's just basically what I'm taking off, what we have currently spent.
Okay, so
Up
we
to
actually spent
year-to-date.
143.
Yeah.
And there were, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least 5 items on this 2014 budget that we never even had budgeted or spent anything on last year. So I don't think we're going too far overboard here with that at all. I mean, we're up to 278, but we've got the substation metering needs to be updated. That it needs to get a little pricey. The LEDs, I think, is a good investment. So we should be okay.
Okay,
Yep.
Good looking capital budget thing.
thank you.
So we want to receive a motion to.
I'll make that motion that we adopt the capital budget for 2014.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded to approve the capital budget for the year 2014. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Okay. So we're on to our agenda item number 5. Does that sound right?
Yes.
Okay. Central Street Solar Project.
At last commissioners meeting, we had talked a little bit about the Central Street Solar Project and where we were and how we weren't really getting any updates, and the project is basically not moving forward. And I had said to the commissioners that we'll bring it up next month
Mm-hmm.
to see if there's been any improvement or any movement in the project, and there has been none. And Bill is here tonight, kind of talk about the project as well. And basically, we need to decide as a board and a department how we want to move forward. My recommendation to the board is that we move forward, not with the project that we have,
Mhm.
but maybe looking into a different project or a different developer, or just moving something along, because I think having a solar array in town is a good idea. I just don't think currently what we have in place for an IA interconnection agreement and a PPA with the current developer is going to work.
Gonna work.
Um,
So would that be something that Bill would be involved with?
Yeah, I'm in favor of it. First of all, I didn't realize that they had been lax in contacting anybody, and I got busy, and it was, I think, a week after your last meeting that I looked online and saw what was going on here, and I immediately called Jim Randolph down in Florida and told him that you weren't happy with, the response he's been getting, and he contacted Sundurance. And apparently, I don't know where they've lost interest, because I thought they were waiting apparently for the state to make up their mind on what's going to happen with the state, and they didn't sound too positive about anything. So I called a few other companies that were working on projects around here, and one contacted me and also spoke with Dan. So, and I don't know how you made up with them.
Yeah. One of the problems right now is, as we've spoken about before, is the DOER and making up their mind on the new SREC program, the Phase 2. And I had, and like Bill said, I spoke to a developer today, and some insight from him is that even him, a project would have to probably wait probably into January and February to see, because the DOER rules are supposed to be out within the next couple of weeks. Well, they were supposed to be out 2 or 3 weeks ago, but
Yeah.
they keep kind of pushing back the final rule to see. And nobody really wants to make a push on a project until they know
What the-
financially how the project's going to work.
Yeah.
So everybody's going to be a little hesitant about a project. But my problem with the current developers, they're not giving us any information. They're not really keeping up to date with me as far as the information goes.
Yeah.
Bill hasn't really heard much from them at all.
Wow.
So to me, that tells me a lot as far as
Yep.
the contractor and the developer, as far as they're just not working with us.
Yeah, that's too bad. But I'm out, obviously they had their reasons. It's probably financial at the very least. It's
Right.
financial. I mean, it's certainly they're trying to make money, so. Well, it's kind of too bad. I was kind of looking forward to it, Bill.
Well, the company that I spoke with today seemed to be, very much interested in it, and they working in the area on other projects as well.
Okay.
And unlike Sundance and the others that had to find their financial backing, they apparently have their own. And to me, he sounded like he sounded more interested in it than.
He, the representative that we talked to today was from Con Ed Development. So Con Edison, I mean, it's a huge company. They, and as Bill said, they have their own financial backing. They're not going to have to go out and find
Sell the project to
right.
somebody else. Yeah.
One of the reasons this project didn't move forward is because Capital Energy Partners, Jim Randolph.
Yes, yeah.
They lost their first set of financiers. So they had to go out and look for new people to finance the project.
Yeah.
That won't happen with a developer like Con Edison. And I'm not saying we use them exclusively, because we'll have to go through some kind of process to see,
Yeah.
what developer is going to work best. But they would finance the project internally, so they eliminate all those concerns of trying to find outside financing. And they're more willing. They've got a huge balance sheet. They're more willing. A project like this is something they're just going to write a check for, and it's going to be done.
Yeah.
Because this is a small project. But I've also talked to him about maybe being a little creative in doing a project, because the land Bill has is probably capable of having a project about 1 to 1.2 megawatt project. There is other land in town that he had spoken to me about today that we could maybe do a bigger project, because if you get to the 2 to 3 megawatt size, your cost is more palatable.
Well, it's more cost effective.
It's more cost effective.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's more
Yeah.
cost effective than it is to build just one smaller project.
Right.
So we're going to keep in touch. He says he'll keep in touch. I think he's going to call Bill back and
Good.
try to work with or try to get some advice on how we want to move forward with these projects. Whether we have there are people out there that like a Jim Randolph. Well, not quite like Jim Randolph, but that will come in and kind of walk you through the process. They do charge you a fee, like a consultant fee, but this is something that they do, for a living, basically. They actually just go out and they actually will help you find the project. We already have a site with Bill's site.
Yeah.
We already, so they would find developers to come in and give us the best price for the project. We'd work in coordination with Bill and the department, work with the developers and whatnot.
Okay.
I don't know if that's something the board's interested in doing, or if it's, if you want to just try and kind of muddle through this and see if we can find a developer that would work. I mean, I'm not saying Con Ed won't work, but,
Yeah, I mean, I think we should try to do something. I don't know what you guys feel
Yeah.
about it,
Yeah.
but I'd like to see something happen. And do we want to kind of wait till after the first year to make sure that we get this SREC thing squared away with the state?
I think you'd be hard pressed to find a developer that would want to move forward before that.
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree, because that's where they're going to make their money, is when they get those credits. So
You know, they're really concerned about how the SREC program is going to roll out.
yeah,
Um,
I think that's probably what scared them off, Bill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, between you and I think that was part of the issue.
Definitely.
So
okay.
yeah, I think we kind of keep an eye on it, and hopefully by
Mm.
the first of the year, whatever, they finally get it squared away, and then we can look at it again and decide which way we want to go.
Okay.
And
I'll
in
keep
the
it
meantime,
up.
we can work with Bill and hopefully
Okay.
get something going for you. So
Yeah, he liked the look of the site and so forth. He really didn't have anything negative.
No.
You know, like I said, it's a shame so much of the work has been done,
Right.
you know,
Mm.
so.
well, from our standpoint, I don't think we were in too bad a shape, Bill, because we needed to do that stuff anyway.
Yeah,
We needed to put the agreements together and get at least a template for that kind of stuff.
yeah,
So I don't think we've lost too much out of that as
No.
far as what we've done so far. So we'd certainly like to continue on if we can.
It is a good site. I mean, like even Mark said today, it's a good site.
Yeah, I mean,
You
it's
know,
out of the
something-
way.
yeah.
You're not
He thought
even-
there was a possibility of getting a little more out of it than what's endurance,
Mhm.
you know, by making some adjustments. And
The problem is the conservation or the wetland there that,
Mm.
you know, we may have to work with the conservation
Yeah.
committee just to find out what
Mhm.
what they need, if they need
Yeah.
anything, or if the, you know, what
Well,
the,
like, you know, from what I understand, what they're planning on doing is nothing that hasn't been already done to that land, you know, turned over. It's been farmed, it's been a tree farm, they've dug trees out of that. You know, what they're talking about doing really isn't anymore, as far as in the conservation land goes anyway. It's right
Mhm.
up to that point, so,
Yeah.
okay.
All right.
yeah, so we'll continue. All right, I'll keep you in the loop too,
Okay,
Bill.
thank you.
And just to see, and keep me in the loop if
I
you hear
will,
from.
yeah, if I hear, he said he was gonna give me a call, and he was, like I say, he seemed to be pretty excited about it, so.
Yeah, you
And
did.
he's local, he's not like trying to contact somebody down in Florida.
Yeah, exactly.
Who's on perpetual vacation for some reason?
Well, Jim Randolph, he was very good, but when they turned it over to Sundance, it was like, you
Yeah,
know, you couldn't-
yeah, and I think, Bill, because the SREC's going to change,
Yeah.
and there was some financial issues there that they were trying to deal with, I'm sure. Yeah.
All righty. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill.
Yep, have a good night.
Thanks,
Take care.
Bill.
Okay, have you got any other non-business things to bring up, or
Nope, just the last item on the agenda.
the rate study?
Yep.
Okay,
I just want to make the board aware that I have 99% finished the RFP for the rate study.
okay,
So I predict it's going to be out by the end of this month or by the end of the year. So we'll be looking to do the rate study January or February of next year.
sounds good.
So we'll be able to
And
get that
We'll have a
done.
handle on what we've collected for the end of this month, in
Mhm.
January, so we'll be receiving those payments. And
Yep.
that should dovetail together very well.
Mhm. I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just putting the RFP together was a little bit of work, but
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it was. I'm sure it was.
we'll as soon as the RFP process starts, I'll as soon as I'm done with the RFP, I'll get you a copy of it
Okay.
so you can kind of review it, take a look at it. But I do plan on getting it out by the end of the month.
Good. Sounds great. Any other comments?
No comment?
All set?
Thanks for coming.
Thanks, Frank, I'll be able to make it.
I know.
I just,
We appreciate you coming.
it's,
Need a motion to adjourn?
I think that's the next item on the
Yeah,
agenda.
right.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
Motion made.
and I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.